This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and I didn't end up doing a watch log of the NXT Stand and Deliver pay per view this afternoon because I was burnt out from the SmackDown and Hall of Fame watch alongs last night. I am going to do a WrestleMania watch along tonight at 8 p.m. for night one, but I did watch Ava Rain's match from earlier today, which ended up not even being on the pay per view. It was a pre show match. And of course, for anyone that doesn't know, they like to give the sons and daughters different names in WWE, I guess, so they own the names. So Ava Rain is The Rock's daughter, and it was her debut match. It was her in-ring debut. However, it wasn't a singles match. It was Chase U against the Schism. So it was 4-on-4 mixed tag where the girls could only wrestle each other. She only had 2 times really legally in the ring. The first time was just a tease to make the fans think like she was going to wrestle. The second time she actually did some wrestling. It was obvious she was green. I mean, it is the pre-show and it is the AAA league. So yes, obviously she still has some work to do, but it wasn't bad. The main thing I would say is her hair was in her face a lot of the time, so the camera couldn't see her facial expressions. And as far as the match altogether, it was a weird match because to me both teams were heelish teams. Like this Chase U, the girl on that team, was just so annoying and like such a typical heel. She's like a cheerleader, but really loud and obnoxious. And like to me, she's more of a heel than the Rock's daughter Ava, because Ava at least is cooler. So I didn't quite understand how the obnoxious cheerleader girl was more of the face. And at one point during the match, all 4 members of each team were in the ring, and the Schism team, it looked like it wasn't a bad spot in one way because it looked like they recruited one of the Chase U people, and then once he switched shirts, got behind it, then he ripped off the shirt to show that it was just a trick. But the weird part about that spot was the referee. It wasn't a no DQ match, and the referee was like making no effort to get the illegal members of the team out of the ring. And at one point, I even thought, is the match over at this point? Because in the theory of wrestling, you're only supposed to have 5 seconds in the ring, or it's a disqualification, or you'd rule it a draw because it's out of hand. So I did, although they got the pop for the spot, I found it a little weird that when all that was going on, the referee made no effort to take either team out of the ring, even though the other there was only 2 of them that were legal in there. Yet there was 8 people in the ring, and the referee's just standing there watching, doing nothing. So that was a little weird. But again, she's got a lot of potential. She looks very much like her mother and father. Um, yeah, I wish her nothing but the best. I'm a huge fan of The Rock, so I'm biased on that review. And again, tonight at 8 p.m., it's we're going to see Logan Paul against Seth Rollins, John Cena against Austin Theory, and the Rey Mysterio against Dominic Mysterio match, as well as the Usos against Kevin Owens and Charlotte Flair against Diarrhea Ripley. So that's at 8 o'clock. I thought it was 7, but apparently it's just the pre-show at 7. So John says NXT used to be entertaining, now it's bottom of the barrel. And oh yeah, by the way, Braun Breaker lost the NXT title, which pretty much solidifies the rumor that he's debuting on the main roster after WrestleMania. And that'll be a big loss to NXT because he there's really only two things that gives NXT a buzz. It's Braun Breaker and The Rock's daughter, but The Rock's daughter, again, she's still really green and not really wrestling much. Braun Breaker actually is really talented. And when I watched a full episode of the show about a month or so ago, his match was the only thing I actually liked about the show. So that'll be a big loss to them. And they have free tickets for their tapings, and they've been having problems getting people to those tapings. So, but they had a good crowd for NXT for this. There looked to be like about six or 7,000, which was about what Meltzer had reported, which is great for an NXT show. And yeah, the Hall of Fame last night was really long. Was really long, too long. And SmackDown, they didn't really do anything to make you want to watch WrestleMania anymore. It's just a lot of talking. So again, for the people that I don't want to be, I don't want to sound negative when talking about this. That's why I'm not going to do these watch-alongs. I want to be entertained. As I said, the AEW in Winnipeg, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It entertained me more than the SmackDown last night, which I gave a 5 out of 10. And Raw Monday, I gave a 6. Raw was better than SmackDown. Raw, I gave a 6.5 out of 10. And as far as this Ava Rain match, I would give it, honestly, a 6.5 out of 10. Honestly. And that's not her fault. That was just, I wasn't into the match. The female wrestler, her gimmick is just, I know it's like the schism group. Remember in the 90s when Vince McMahon said the times of baby faces and heels are passe. Well, we have these cheesy cheerleader characters, and then these spooky-ish heels. So I don't know. I just couldn't get into the match, but it wasn't terrible or anything. 6.5, I think, is a fair grade. You guys tell me what you think. You give me your ratings of that match. It's free on YouTube. You don't even need the network to watch it. Wallace, who was inducted to the Hall of Fame? Stacy Keibler, the great Muda, who had the best induction speech by far. Rey Mysterio Jr., whose speech was like extremely long. I actually tapped out at one point. Couldn't take it anymore. Tim White and somebody else that I forget. I'd have to watch the review again to be reminded. Someone says Braun's debut against Cena for the U.S. belt on Raw. I would like to see that. See, I think, you know what I would like to see, to be honest? This will not happen. I would like to see, this is not going to happen, though. Roman retained over Rhodes, then Braun Breaker beat Roman Reigns the next night on Raw. Braun has more of an upside than Cody, but they got to change the name from Breaker. But with all this hoopla about Rick Steiner now over the weekend, who knows if they're going to give him the name Steiner. You know what? I'm not saying it's right what Rick Steiner did, but whatever happened, I hear Jericho like made a threat. Hey, Rick Steiner, you got a problem with that? Take it up with me. Why didn't the people from Impact stand up for themselves? That's what I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying why do people have to go on social media and complain? Why can't they just stand up for themselves when it's happening too, like people would do in the old days? If you have a problem, if I'm going to get in a high school fight or whatever, I'll stand up and say, you want to go outside. I wouldn't go on social media and say, oh, this guy is bullying me, blah blah blah. I don't know. It's just a change in the times, but I would have confronted them. It's too bad they didn't confront them at the time and make it known that you're being offensive, and then maybe something more would have happened. But whatever. The world is changing, and good for people that can be themselves. I support that, and I do know the Siders are known for their reputation of bullying people. I'm not saying they weren't bullying, but I would have liked to have seen people stand up for themselves at the time of things happening rather than just going online and complaining about it. Billy Jack Haynes is doing great. Well, not great. His wife is very ill, but I heard from him this week. He's doing fine, guys. So I'll be back at 8 p.m. for the watch along. It was decent weather out here today. The blizzard stopped. I had an amazing run, and I did a really good arm workout. It's my 4th day running in a row. Really enjoying the nicer weather. See you guys in an hour.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest